Finally, we're back to the Rami Magic Show. Today we have a guest. I met her last year, and throughout the many transactions that we've done together, we've had some really good conversation. And as an entrepreneur, these conversations would benefit you. Wherever you are in life, I think these conversations would actually benefit you as well. So please meet Anna Alemi.
Hi everyone, I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much, Rami, for having me here.
You're welcome. And honestly, it's we've had some really good conversations. That's why I wanted you here.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just happy to actually be back because there's two parts of the show, like I was telling you. One part is having a guest and talking to them. The other part is explaining things about, mortgages.
For sure.
And I wanted to, and we haven't done this show in like a few months because of the pandemic. So finally we're back and I'm happy you're here. So thank you.
Yes.
You gave me some wonderful news that we'll talk about a little bit later. I wasn't sure. We'll see how the conversation goes, and then we can talk about that a little bit. You are an entrepreneur. You've been a realtor for how long?
Oh, I've been doing this for over 10 years. I am originally from, not originally, I'm an immigrant, but I grew up most of my life in Toronto, and it just started as something to do on the side, because I was dealing with a lot of different realtors just for personal purchases and things like that, family purchases. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, why not? Let me just, try it out, see what it's about. And then what happened was it just, real estate really just pulled me in. I got really interested in how is it people are doing it. It seems so easy, but it's not easy at all. Mm-hmm. And everybody thinks it's an easy thing to do, but it's actually not. It's, once you get into it, as an entrepreneur, when you're about to embark into something new, you're all excited, you're thinking about all these amazing things that are about to happen. But what happens is you have a tendency to, get into it and realize the responsibilities that are associated with it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you know that. So,
of course. And you know what? From the time we've been working together,
mm-hmm.
There's a common trend on the show where people, the ones that have recommended books to me, I feel like there's a lot of common ground, or there's a lot of information to be taken from books, obviously, but also the book that you would recommend to me shows how much we would have in common.
Yeah.
And this book is called E-Myth.
Yeah.
And that book would essentially teach you how to, primarily, I'm a mortgage broker, primarily you're a real estate agent, but also how to be a business person.
Right.
Like, you're good at doing real estate. You're good at negotiating contracts. You're good at doing all this stuff. But to build a business around you takes multiple skills. Mm-hmm. And delegating the right things to the right people is what we talk about all the time. Yeah. So can you speak on that, and like how did E-Myth change your business, and where did it take it to?
Well, as I said, you get into, as an entrepreneur, you have all these ideas and you think, oh my gosh, now I'm my own boss, and, now I get to decide, and I've been working for other people. They didn't appreciate me. And, now I know how much I appreciate myself. What happens is you end up working for yourself. For this crazy person, that's yourself. You don't give yourself any time off. You try to push harder, and the problem is you're also, as a solopreneur, you're also wearing so many different hats.
A solopreneur.
Yeah.
Okay.
Solopreneur. Yeah, you're the only person doing everything, right?
Yeah.
So you're wearing so many different hats. You are your own admin, you are your own customer service, you're the salesperson, you're everything.
You're the marketer.
You're the marketer. Mm-hmm. It's just like, you're doing everything. So what happens is, as you grow, you realize, well, do I work in my business because I need to work in my business to generate some income to feed what I'm doing? Otherwise, I'll be going back to my daily, or 9-to-5 job. Or should I be working on my business? But working on my business, then who's going to take care of the work, right?
That's right.
That's one of the biggest things as entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, the biggest challenge that we face. And so E-Myth, the book, what I love about this book, which was actually recommended to me by my mentor, which we'll talk about a little bit later, I found out that one of the things he said was, do you know what is the most successful restaurant? As you know, restaurants don't have the highest profit margin, right? What is the most successful restaurant? And if you think about it, it's actually McDonald's.
Of course.
Because McDonald's, and funny enough, McDonald's, is actually being run by a bunch of teenagers that can't even keep up cleaning their own rooms, right? And how is it that McDonald's is the most successful restaurant? And so that was an amazing question, and it made me think, and the answer to that is systems. They have proper systems. So no matter if you were to have a, cheeseburger, I don't eat McDonald's that much, but if you were to have, combo number one in Orleans, combo number one in Canada and Ottawa, right? They'll be the same.
Right. Exactly.
There's no difference between the two. So that's why they're successful. No matter who's actually behind there and doing things, they're following a set of systems that's, the system has been broken down into little pieces, and everybody is just doing it. Everybody just does little things that they have been assigned to do or delegated to do, and the next person takes care of the next part. Yeah. So if you look at that model, which is a franchise model, and you look at your own business, you realize, man, I don't have anything like that. I'm doing everything, and I have no systems. One day I'll be doing something, the next day another idea comes in my mind, and I'll be doing another thing. Right. And it's just like, next thing you know, you're not doing anything consistently. One client might be getting a great service from you, the next one, not so much, right? And the other thing is, as you grow, as you have more and more clients, what happens is you tend to, no matter how much you try to help everybody, and I know you're the same as me, you want to help everybody and you want to be able to, do the best you could. The problem is you can't, because we all have a limited amount of time, and if you take your time, talking to this family and want to build a connection, well, guess what? The other family is going to suffer. So that's why systems are really important. And when I started reading E-Myth, now let's talk about E-Myth. That's all there is. That's what it talks about. Yeah. Delegating, part of your work to someone else. So what essentially happened with me was that, yes, I was doing everything myself from the beginning. And mind you, aside from being an entrepreneur, I have a family as well. I have a very young family. People have 1 kid, 2 kids, I have 3. So, of course, I have a very supportive spouse, supportive family, but, at the end of the day, I'm also a mother, right? So, yes, at the beginning, I had to do everything myself. I had to wear all these different hats, but what I started doing was I started firing myself from these different positions. These different positions that didn't necessarily need my help. And the other thing is, when you're delegating those positions to other people, you want to make sure that they're actually following exactly what you're doing. You don't want them to do, I call it freestyling. You don't want them to suddenly say stuff that they shouldn't be saying, or doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. So how is it that you get them to be part of you? They need to be an extension of you. You need to keep them very close, and you need to keep them keep them within your circle to see what they're doing. So what I do is I get them to shadow me. So whether it's like my admin, I am right there with them. CC me on everything. I need to see what you're writing. You need to first write. So at the beginning, I was like, you're not allowed to write any emails, okay? You have an email, you're not allowed to write an email. You need to write it to me. If I'm happy with it, you can send that. So that's the first step. So once they're good, I'm like, okay, now you can send emails, but you need to CC me on every single email. You cannot communicate without me knowing what's going on.
So, okay, a couple of things here.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Systems create consistency.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
What you're preaching is consistency to, by having a good system, you are not providing the same great service to a larger number of clients, right? But most importantly, is that you wear all these different hats, and I've never heard you complain about it. Okay, so you've almost mastered that that idea that once you have a good system in place, you have that consistency, and then you can make some time for your family, make some time for your kids, and do your job as a mother.
Yeah.
Right. And that's that's inspiring and it's probably inspiring for a lot of women that are struggling with that, because getting pregnant, having babies, and these babies are attached to you more than they're going to be attached to their father ever. I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. They struggle with that, and especially as an entrepreneur, I feel like the pressure is a little stronger on you. Yeah. So the fact that you were able to get over that hump and, find and create a system to have that consistency is impressive.
Oh, thank you. I think what you said is absolutely true. When it comes to women, not only do we have to think about, our work, but also we have to think about our work at home. So essentially, we're actually having two different work that we have to, and we can't drop one or the other, they're both equally important. But, one thing I forgot to say at the beginning was that, before I got into real estate, I have a bachelor's of science in psychology, and I studied that to get into medical school. Okay. But then life events happened, which, I don't want to get too much into it, but, I had a very close relations with hospitals, and realized that what's important to me right now is not really to pursue that, but rather have my family. Okay. Right. Yeah. So I realized time is very limited, and I want to have my family, because medical school, you also can't have kids until you finish. Or sometimes I heard from some of my clients now, you may be able to take some, years off, but that's only after you finish your first 4. So anyway, long story short, I chose to be an entrepreneur, to be able to have my family, and then also pursue, doing what I love doing, which is helping people. And the other aspect of this is that I absolutely did not like, I should say, I didn't have the most pleasant experiences with realtors in my personal, when I was doing a personal, when I was not a realtor. Okay. Yeah. So it was kind of the last thing I wanted to actually pursue. And that's interesting. It was the last thing I wanted to pursue. A friend of mine said, Anna, I'm doing my license. We should do it together. And I said, oh, no way. And, and I said, you know what? I used to do sales when I was an immigrant, and I was really good at it. And you know what? Let me just try it. How hard could it be if, so on and so forth can do it? I could do it. And I got into it, and it was really, really, I found it to be extremely challenging. Just me, I love challenges, and I like to just keep on finding ways to make it work because I see people making it work. Anyway, fast forward to now, going back to systems, you really do, I realize that you really do need systems. You really do need people that are there and that actually follow you, and they, because here's the thing. One thing I do is sometimes I allow people that work with me make mistakes. I do. I'm just like, you know what? If I let you do it, I'm telling you, this is not the way. I'll let you do it, but you're going to see that you're going to make a mistake here. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because, just human nature, right? We're like, no, I think I know better, right?
Right.
So I don't, and I like people that take initiative. So I find that's a little bit of a characteristic of people that want to take initiative. They're like, they do things.
Yeah.
But I highlight their mistakes for everybody, not because to say, oh, you know what, you made this mistake, but for all of us to learn. We can't just be like learning from one person, from our own mistakes. We have to be able to learn from other people's mistakes. I don't know. We really went off topic right here.
No, that's okay. That's it's good to go off topic sometimes. So at what point did you realize that you needed help? To delegate work, stuff like that.
So it's really, I think the hardest hire is your first hire. Right?
Yeah.
It's when you bring in the very first person, because like you and I were talking earlier.
Yeah.
You feel that responsibility. Oh my gosh, they're gonna leave whatever opportunity other than this work, and now you've taken them on. And you're providing for their livelihood.
Right.
And, at the beginning, I had people telling me, wow, so you're going to basically take food off of your plate to feed it to somebody else, right? Essentially, that's what I was told when I first hired my first person. And I said, I know that this is
which couldn't be further from the truth, obviously.
This is, I you know what, there's always this like, you're always going to be scared a little bit, but you need to take these chances. At the end of the day, you have to believe in yourself. You have to say enough is enough. And for me, it took me a good few years before I decided to hire my first personnel. And reason being is not because I could. It's just I really wanted to master the craft that, whether it be like real estate as sales or just understand what is it about. Oftentimes people are like, okay, yeah, I can do this thing. They go and buy a big business and they have no clue what they're doing.
Right.
So failure is guaranteed. You need to know what you're doing before you expand. So going back to hiring the first person, I needed to really, really master what that person's supposed to be doing before delegating it. So there is a difference between delegating and abdicating. So delegating is when you're actually giving the work that you knew, you fired yourself, and now you gave the hat to somebody else to wear it, okay? But you know what that work is. And here's the reason why you want to delegate it that way and not abdicating. Abdicating is like, oh, you do it. I don't know what to do, but you do it, The problem with the other way is that you don't know what this work entails. So if this person leaves or this person is not available that day, guess what? You're stuck.
So Anna, things like marketing, right? Yeah. You're a good marketer. Mm-hmm. You know what you're doing, but not everybody is. So if you're not a good marketer and you need to hire somebody to do your marketing, obviously, if they have any marketing experience, they'll likely be a lot more expensive, right? If you're so at that point, you're probably hiring somebody, especially if you're starting out and you're looking to grow your business. You're hiring somebody to do a job that you may not know how to do, and they may not know how to do, right?
Yeah.
And that's, for me, that was a big challenge.
Yeah.
because, some of the compliance work or whatever, that we have to do as agents, I didn't know how to do, but I'm actually hiring somebody to do it for me.
Yeah.
Right. And the person that I'm hiring to do it for me probably doesn't know how to do it either.
Yeah.
Right. So even if you don't know how to do something,
yeah,
it's almost like you have to learn how to do everything so that you actually have a conversation with the person that's going to do it for you, and to guide them in that right direction.
Yeah.
For me, that was the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. I'm sure there was something in your area that you just didn't know how to do, but you had to train somebody to do it.
Yeah. So marketing is a big thing, and I actually don't consider myself a salesperson per se. As realtors, we think, like, when we get into real estate, and that's what the perception is from general public, that we're just salespeople. Mm-hmm. We're just maybe one step. I mean, I've heard this in many, many different real estate conventions. People think that we're just one step above car salespeople. But we're not salespeople, actually. I don't consider myself salespeople. I don't consider myself a traditional realtor either. I actually consider myself a marketer. Marketing is paramount to your business. Mm-hmm. Paramount to your business. Like, I don't care what you say. And one of the most important things in marketing, you opened up another whole topic, so I really need to go in there. That's what I do. Marketing is when you're talking to your consumer needs to know what, like, the very first thing they in the back of their head is, what's in it for me? Why choose Rami over Joe Schmo? Why work with Anna rather than Jane Doe, right? That's the whole thing, because no matter what industry you're in, let me assure you, it's overpopulated. It's not underpopulated. Every industry, whether, like, there is so much of everything and anything. Okay, I told you earlier, I wanted to get into medical school. I didn't pursue it. I still have, like, my prep schools and all of that, and prep books and all that. There is competition there as well. There is competition to get into medical school. There is competition to any profession you think of. It's overpopulated. Like lawyers, there's so many lawyers, so many mortgage brokers, so many banks, right? Their competition is fierce. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to talk to your consumer heart to heart, and your consumer needs to realize, what is it really in for them? Because it doesn't matter you say, I'm the best, because everybody says I'm the best. Who says I'm the worst? Everybody's going to say I'm the best. But what's in it for them? And what we call that the unique selling proposition. Okay, what's in it for them? What's the benefit of them working with you as opposed to Mr. X, Y, and Z? Mm-hmm. You see? Mm-hmm. And so that's what marketing is about. That's the very first conversation you need to have. You need to find out, what is your unique selling proposition, okay? Mm-hmm. We have various guarantees that we offer our consumers, but you gotta say, this is what you'll get when you work with us, okay? And there's different unique selling propositions. Whether it's performance guarantees or it's, just saying people, like, what is it that they're going to get with you? So anyway, that's a whole different conversation. But marketing, like you, I didn't know marketing. I was just like, what is marketing? Like, I would post something one time, then I'd be like doing something else.
Is there like a brand, like an international brand that you respect or watch or align yourself with?
Well, I mean, for me, like, we were talking earlier, one of the most important things that I should really touch base on as an entrepreneur, one of the biggest mistakes I made when I first started was, I got into real estate, I saw everybody doing whatever, and I started copying them, because you're like, well, if I'm supposed to be a realtor, let me just, start dressing up like them, talking like them, The problem is though, no, it's true, right? It's true. You're kind of becoming that actor, right? Like you want people to start perceiving you as the same person, right? Yeah. Like what do doctors do? They all wear the white robe, put the thing on, like, you know, they all look the same, right? Kind of. So you start doing that. You start like becoming that person. The problem is that we tend to copy the wrong people. You know, people that are not that successful. Because if you want to be in the top 1%, top 5%, top 10% of any industry, guess what? That means that 90% of the people that you come across, they're not the successful ones. They're not part of the 10%. And so that was my biggest mistake, not having a mentor. You need to have a mentor. Like anything you do, there's got to be a mentor. And you know what? There are mentors. I know there are a lot of fake mentors out there. Believe me, it took me a while before I could find a proper mentor for myself. Reading books is important. You know, educating yourself is important, but finding a mentor is super, super important.
How do you find a mentor?
Track record. How do you find the best mortgage broker? Right? Track record. Seeing what they've done. Social
How do you
proof.
know? Is there like a database?
Nope. You have to do your own research. You have to do your research. So there are a ton. You know, you go online, you go on any of the social media channels, you'll see a ton of gurus, ton of people that say, oh, we've done it. You know, and it's really hard because the problem is when there's see, I told you every industry is like, you know, overpopulated or saturated. Well, same thing with mentors and gurus. The problem is the ones that the fake ones are out there, and so they've diluted the market. You can't find the right people. So you need to really do your own due diligence and research.
Do you how do you handle anxiety and stress?
That's a good question. There have been different ways. I just, you know, I silence makes like thinking more logically. You know, I used to, at the beginning of my career in real estate, and you know, real estate is a very sensitive industry. You know, people get very emotional. And given my background, I have a lot of background in customer service. I try to see things from their perspective, and I try to just remove myself from the equation, not like how I feel, but see what is the problem here and how can it be solved. That's the difference between, you know, you deal with some people, and whenever they're given a problem, they just shut down. They just suddenly are like, you know what? I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I would rather be an employee, not have to deal with the stress. Let somebody else deal with this, and I'll just be okay. That's the problem, right? You tend, and E-Myth talks about that, by the way, the different stages of your business, right? So you have a tendency to say, oh my gosh, once things aren't working out, you're just like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to give up. I'm just going to, you know, I don't want to do anything. I just don't even want to answer my phone because I know this deal is going to go, you know, sideways. So, and there's nothing I could do. But that's what's wrong. There's always something you could do. There's always a solution. I'm sure you saw this little, I think it's like a little short clip where, you know, one of the, I think it was the presidency run between, I forgot his name, Al Gore and George W. Bush. And somebody said, I think Al Gore said, or I don't know, I forgot. Sorry, it was the presidency between Al Gore and I forgot who the other guy was, and he said that I have to be resourceful. You have to be resourceful. There's always different things, and so he was saying how like you have to be resourceful to solve an issue, even though you think it's impossible for something to happen. if you're resourceful, things can move around, things can happen. Yeah. So I'll tell you an example, we see deal, and I keep referring back to real estate because that's what I do. But, and you said that was going to happen. In real estate, deals sometimes go sideways. Things don't happen the way it was meant to happen, the way it should have happened, right? Well, you could be like, okay, forget you guys, I'm out of here. Or you can be right there with them and fight for them and be proactive. This happened not too long ago with one of our clients. And you know what? I said to them, I said, guys, we are very proactive. We're not going to sit and wait for things to happen. We will make things happen for you. And they were just like, of course, when things are going bad, they're like, okay, yeah, giving them hope is I think half the battle, but also really, really pushing through with what you say you're going to do. Okay. And I knew, like, I have been perfecting and working our systems, and it's still not perfect. Your systems always need to be looked at, always can be improved. And so I knew that there's ways in which we could make this happen for them.
And as entrepreneurs, we always talk about this, perfecting and creating. But the problem is, what I struggle with is time. When do you find the time to work on your system? What's your schedule like? Like, what do? You wake up in the morning. What do you work out? Do you have a coffee? Do you read?
I work out at night if I could. I don't work out in the morning. Because But so what do? I wake up and get ready. We all have our morning rituals, and then we go to work. And then at work, I have a to-do list. I have things, even from the night before, I know the things that need to happen the next day. So like, the night before, I always look at my schedule for the next day, because some days I work all the time and I need to realize, and I don't realize the day it is. Like, for example, I didn't know what day it was today, but looking at my schedule, I realized, oh boy, we have this in the morning, So, and I knew that I couldn't, I have committed and I need to make this happen. So,
well, thank you for coming.
Yeah. No, thank you. But you need to look at your schedule the night before. You can't look at it later. And you need to put everything in your calendar. To me, my calendar, so one of the other mistakes I've made was I think I have, because every app gives you a different calendar. So I had my Google calendar, I had my real estate calendar, then I had my iPhone calendar, and they're like 3 different calendars that I was, so if somebody so when somebody was calling me, I'm like, oh, hold on, I have to look at like my calendars and see. And combine them. Put them all in one. Why are you sync them together? But one of them wasn't syncing, that's why. So anyway, Google and Apple, they don't really jive well together. So that's what the problem was. But now I fixed it. But have a calendar. Have a calendar and make sure that you put things in place. One of the things I learned earlier on in my career is, book your whole week ahead of the time. So on Sundays, sit down, look at your calendar and block the times for your family first. And these cannot be changed unless like it's an absolute emergency. Block those times for your family first, for the things that you have committed, then start taking appointments for the times that you have available. Okay? So that's number one. Do I always follow that? No, I'm absolutely guilty. There's days that doesn't exactly go how I want. Now, especially with, the new things that's happening, every time you take on the next step or you go to the next level in your career, there's going to be time that you need to commit to your work. You cannot just say, oh, you know what, I'm going to enjoy my life and travel and I want to have my business on the side. No. You have to You have to build your business. Your business is like a plant. It's like a child. You know, you need to really, really take care of it until it becomes fruitful.
Are you obsessed with real estate, or are you obsessed with building your business?
I think I'm obsessed with helping people, and I truly mean that, helping people achieve what they want, and finding those people that want to achieve what they want, and aligning what they want so that, you know, when they get what they want, guess what? As a side effect, I also get what I want. So I'm really passionate with aligning. So I'm very picky with who I bring in to our team. Yes, I've talked to people, and you know, sometimes I rejected them, sometimes they rejected us, and it's normal. But I feel like extremely happy with the people that are within my organization, because everybody is so motivated to do their best. And as a leader, as an entrepreneur, you need to inspire your people. You need to have a clear vision for them to say, yeah, you know what? I'm with you. I can see that. So that comes back to, you know, when you and I were talking and you're like, you know, it could be, it's a bit of a, like, it's risky, you know, you feel like this responsibility to take these people on with you. Yeah, it's absolutely a huge responsibility. But you know what? Once you show people that you're doing this, not just for you, but for them, for their well-being, and you show them, you say, guys, you know what? We're going to take some pain. Just understand that there is going to be pain. But understand that this pain is not forever. We're trying to build something.
Well, in the last year that we've known each other, I think it's been a year and a bit now.
Yeah.
Your business has grown so much.
Yeah.
Like, you literally told me when we first started dealing together.
I mean, I don't think it's grown as much as I wanted.
Well,
but
you had maybe one agent, I think.
Yeah.
And now you have several.
Yeah.
And now you are opening your own brokerage.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
And these people trust you enough to move with you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's an accomplishment on its own. So why don't you talk about that, your new brokerage, and what's to come?
Yeah, so I pretty much just announced it, and I'm so excited about this because, yeah, it's the next level, you know. I think I was talking to a colleague of mine last night, and that's also part of the reason today is the way I am till later. And this colleague of mine saw everything, you know, from my previous, not just my previous brokerage before I opened up, but the one before. And he has seen what happened and what I have achieved. And he's like, it's been amazing to watch what has happened to you. And I said, what happened to me was the best blessing that ever happened to me. So, you know, when things are really horrible, okay, and you're in it, you don't see anything else. You can't even, like, sometimes I feel like I can't even breathe.
Yeah, it's almost like you can't see a way out.
Yeah, you feel like really, really boxed in. But that moment, always, I remember, I don't know where I learned this. I mean, maybe, I'm sure it's from my mentor, but I've also learned from so many different things that I've read or heard. You know, when things get really challenging, don't take it as oh my goodness, you know, that's it. Just look at it as, what am I supposed to be learning right now? What is it to learn right here? What could I have done differently? What is the lesson that, you know, universe or God, whatever you believe in, is trying to teach me at this moment to make me a better person? So that's really what it is. But going back to this, yeah, so I opened up my brokerage. It's always been my dream. And
congratulations.
Thank you. It's always been my dream. one thing, Rami, you haven't mentioned, well, you did mention, is being an entrepreneur is hard, but being an entrepreneur as a woman is extremely hard. Extremely hard. Like, I think we have to work double to show that we're just as self-worth as our opposite. And you know what? I'm saying this the lightest possible way. I don't want any self-pity, none of that. Like, it's the truth. It's hard. People look at us a little bit differently. People act differently, just the way it is. We have to really, really show people that we're just as capable. And
the sad part is, Luana, sorry to cut you off.
No.
It's something that girls and women deal with their entire lives.
Yeah.
I find myself sometimes treating my son differently from my girl, my daughter,
Yeah.
It's almost like it's engraved in our minds. And it's, some things are good, but some things lead to, a little more struggle in the future.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, like, I come up from a very multicultural background. My mom's Filipino and my dad is Iranian. And I grew up until before I came to Canada in Iran. And I have two older brothers. And, I've always been in this environment with men, whether I was previously, I was working with them, at different companies, or if it was like our family business, I was always around men. Okay. And I had to work double hard to show my dad that I was just as good, and same thing goes with business. We need to work harder to show that we can actually do it. And, to open up a brokerage it's not an easy task. Many people will just give up at just the idea of it. When I said I was going to do
it's scary.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Many people, when I said I was going to do it, they called me, they took it upon themselves to call me and just stop me and tell me, stop, do not do it. This is crazy. Don't, it's not a joke.
But why?
It's that. Honestly, I don't know. There's different parts to it. And,
right.
I don't want to really get into that. A lot of it has to do with their own belief, like what they feel they're capable, and
right.
then they project it upon somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I find sometimes it's hard for people to really, really appreciate other people's success or congratulate other people's success. And, they say failures, I think, I read somewhere, failure slaps you in public and success hugs you in the most private, in your privacy, in your private moment. And it's true. You do something amazing, you're excited, nobody there to say anything, but if you look at any of those teams, like basketball teams, right? When they're 10 years champions, like the moment they're brought down, everybody's like, like they're so excited about the new team.
Exactly.
That's and that's true. Just that's the nature of things. I'm not going to change it, certainly. It is.
Did you play sports when you were younger?
Very little, like different sports. I was not in a, my kids do. They're amazing.
Because I talk a lot about, oh really?
Yeah, they're doing it they're professionally doing it. They're doing skiing,
okay.
moguls, and they're awesome.
All
oh my gosh. Well, the two older ones and the younger one just started. The younger one's 5 years old and he's been doing, he's going to be 6. He's been skiing for 3 years. He skis faster than I do. Like it's insane.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
The reason why I ask you about sports because I've always talked about this athletic mindset and how it teaches you to just be resilient.
Yeah.
And you've got that naturally. To just to open your own brokerage. One of the things that you said about how the things you had to go through to get to where you are. And how you kept finding a way and keep, restructuring the system or, playing with the system is Kobe Bryant. He was talking about, on one of his games, when he first started in the NBA, he was missing a lot of shots. And then eventually in the off season, he realized why, he started looking at his shot and why am I missing a lot of shots? He figured that, in college I was only playing 35 games. In the NBA, I'm playing 82 games. And he realized, well, I'm missing those shots at the end of the season in the playoffs.
Okay.
So he started working out his arms because he was losing strength. So he started working out his arms, started working out just his upper body. I guess whatever. He's working out whatever you work out to have better and more strength in your shot. That's my point. And then eventually he got his shot back. So instead of, an NBA player is not going to just give up, no matter who you are. But to just figure it out, keep that confidence, work at it, and perfect it is what really takes it to the next level.
Definitely. People think people look at other people and they're like, oh yeah, wow, they're young and they just got lucky. There's no luck involved, I'll tell you that. It's all about consistency. It's all about practice. And actually my kids doing what they do professionally, I see these kids all through winter. They grab their skis, they climb up, they come back down the same trail and again all day long, okay? And one of the things is what you just mentioned, with sports, with anything, it's just like a sport, you need to keep practicing, you need to keep doing. You keep doing it until you realize, what needs to happen. You study your craft, right? You need to study your craft. You can't just be like, okay, you know what? I've done it. I should have done it perfectly. No, absolutely not. You just did it once. You look at other people that are doing it. It's not their first time. I'll tell you that. It's not their first time. And that there's this story or tale about this guy that he was in search for gold. And he kept going and going, and then he gave up. Then another guy came and bought, his project, and he just worked a little bit, and he found the gold mine. And one of the things for me is, that little tale pushed me along the way. I'm like, just a little bit more, Let me try it this way. Let me try it this way. And you just got to keep trying. You have to, sorry, go ahead.
Do you feel like you're never, you're uncomfortable being comfortable?
Yes. That's something I think it's a little bit.
That's sort of the feeling I get. It's like once you're content and comfortable, it's like, okay, no, I need stress in my life. I need to actually go out and do something. There's this funny thing I saw the other day.
It's true, yeah.
This funny thing I saw the other day, and it was like, I think it was a meme on Instagram or something, and it said, everything is great in my life. Everything is great in my life, but except in my head. So everything is great on the outside, except what I'm thinking about on the inside. So it's like, wow, I live a wonderful life. I'm next to a pool or on the boat or whatever. Then it's like, oh fuck, I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to do this, and then that's it. That moment is no longer enjoyable because all you're thinking about is what you have to do next and where you want to get to next. And that's the biggest struggle and the number one reason for anxiety, in my opinion. And that's why I asked you, how do you handle anxiety? How do you handle stress? How do you handle...
I'll tell you what it is. When you make it about other people, when you're in this thing, that sometimes we experience where, struggle or whatever, you just have to, and this is not something I learned because, just like you, I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on, but one thing my husband says is, Anna, put one foot in front of the other, keep going straight, just keep going, and that has helped me a lot, I'll tell you. I have some really, really good people that I talk to when things aren't going the best, really close family members. The other person is my dad I talk to, and he's a successful entrepreneur himself.
Is he in Canada or is he?
Yeah, he's in Canada. He's in Toronto. And I work with him prior to going into real estate, but I was doing that to help help family.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I was working with him, with my family, and as new immigrants, we have a ton of struggle. We came to Canada the worst possible way. We came here as immigrants under the entrepreneur category, which as an entrepreneur category, you're coming to Canada, you're getting a status in Canada is conditional. It's conditional on you opening up a business in Canada and hiring somebody for 12 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And
I had no idea that even existed.
Yes. And my father chose this because he thought, there are different categories you can come to Canada. And he thought if you come as a skilled worker, you're going to carry this title with you forever. Oh, I came as a skilled worker. So you're like a third degree.
When was this?
This is in 1990. Well, we came 1996. It took us 5 years to get our application to come to Canada. And so, 1996.
That's really interesting, Anna.
Yeah.
That's,
yeah. So by third year, we almost had to leave Canada because we didn't open up a business. And so he did. He opened up a business. He had a business back in Iran. Both my parents were doctors in Iran, but they opened up a business in Iran. And then they're like, yeah, we can open up a business in Canada, no problem. But so the person that I talk to a lot is my dad. And we really, as a family, we work together, united, in that I'll tell you, the very first paycheck I ever got was from real estate. Because prior to that, whatever I was making, pull it into the family. And all of us were doing that. No ifs, no buts. Didn't care about going shopping for clothing, none of that. It was just like, you know what, we got to survive, and we got to survive by working together.
That's beautiful.
So I remember when I first got my first paycheck from real estate, I told my husband, oh my God, this is going into my account. Like I couldn't believe it, So having people to talk to, when there are, I learned earlier on that, so many people are your friends, but you have to be very careful who you take advice from. And to me, the people that I take seriously in terms of advice and things like that are people that are extremely close to me. And, my family. And there are some friends that are amazing as well, like that have come through, like in the worst possible time of my life, they were there. Okay. So those people, I absolutely appreciate what they tell me. Now, of course, you need to think as well to see what's best, but definitely, going through situations like that, having those people to talk to is super important because they kind of give you that overall vision. And I think they're kind of like my angels in my life because, when things go bad, you need to be able to talk to people, being associated with people that have been there. Now, going back to mentors, mentors, they've been there before, you see? So it's like almost like, where the destination is. Like, how I got lost coming here? You didn't get lost. You know where you were going, right? I got lost because I didn't know where I was going. You have been here before. That's why you were able to give me direction as to how to get to here. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Same thing. Mentors, people that you're trusted people, and just having.
So I'm glad to have been your mentor for 3 minutes.
For
direction.
I hope I'm not talking too much. My gosh.
We do talk a lot.
Yeah.
And you know what though? A lot of good content, and I think a lot of people are going to benefit from this. So thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Definitely, people can listen to this and it could give them hope that it's, you know, it's okay to feel the things that you're feeling as a younger entrepreneur, you know?
Yeah.
Not to be afraid to hire somebody and just look at your system. Where are you going wrong? Where's the inconsistencies and get that fixed up?
Yeah. Honestly, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And you said it best. You're like, do you have a problem being comfortable? And you know what? It's funny. I laugh when you said that because I tell people that. It's like, I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
Like I was just fine, you know, and I just took on another challenge.
Yeah,
like I just had to do it. I think, but I get that from my parents. They've been like really hardworking people. And I think my kids have got that gene too, where they can't just sit still. They have to do something.
It's funny you say that because I could be sitting, you know, I go to my buddy's house out on the water and I can be sitting watching the sunset. Everything's wonderful. Everything is just absolutely wonderful. Then I'm like, you know, then I just, okay, I gotta go. What? What's going on? We haven't even eaten. I gotta go. I have so much work to do. I have to go. It's just like, what happened? Like you were just fine. Like you actually don't have to go. It's a Sunday evening. You know, and that's it. The anxiety hits. Don't know how to control it. I need to get in my car, go home, and get to work. You know. So
need my computer right there. Yeah. No, I know.
And there's no way I can't work when there's too many people around because you want to enter the conversation and then somebody says something that's untrue. So you want to jump into the argument. So you know, distractions and stuff like that.
Yeah. No.
I'm very, very uncomfortable being comfortable. And that's why I asked you that because I feel like you're the same way.
Yeah, I can't. So now we opened up a brokerage. This is a brand that's expanding throughout North America. Okay. And it's called Your Home Sold Guarantee Realty.
Awesome. So look out for those posts. Do you have a handle I can tag?
Yeah, you can. Well,
I can just tag the Anna Alemi.
Yeah, you can put annaalemi.com for sure. Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. This was a wonderful conversation. I'll see you guys next week.